The weather forecast said clear skies, but 2 hours later, I was trapped in Greenland, inside a cave, with my dogs and a storm that erased the world outside. No signal, no way back. Just wind screaming at -40, and one mistake away from not making it out alive. Asterisk, asterisk, the silence was the first warning. Out here, silence doesn't mean peace. It means the land is holding its breath. I was moving slowly across the frozen plateau, with my dogs when the wind stopped completely. No drifting snow, no distant howl. Just my boots crunching against ice and the steady rhythm of paws behind me. I had planned a short winter route-nothing extreme. A few days of isolation, filming nature sounds, camping light. The sky had been clear that morning. To Clear Dot, my dogs sensed it before I did. Their ears shifted, their pace tightened. One of them stopped and looked back at me, eyes alert, waiting. That's when I noticed the horizon disappearing. Not dark, white. A moving wall of snow swallowing the distance. I checked the weather device. No signal. Within minutes, the wind hit like a physical force. Snow slammed sideways into my face, stealing visibility and direction at the same time. I tried to turn back, but the tracks were already gone, erased instantly. The temperature dropped so fast, it felt unreal, like the air itself had turned solid. I shouted commands to the dogs, my voice ripped away by the storm. We couldn't outrun it. The cold burned inside my lungs, sharp and dry. Every breath hurt. Then I saw it barely. A dark shape in the white chaos, rock a cave entrance, half buried, no bigger than a shadow in the storm. I didn't hesitate. We ran for it. Inside, the world collapsed into darkness, and wind noise fading behind stone. I fell to my knees, pulling the dogs in with me, hands shaking violently. My eyelashes were frozen together. My fingers barely worked. The cave smelled like earth and old ice. The floor was uneven, frozen stone dusted with snow. No comfort, no safety, just shelter from the wind. But outside, the storm was closing the world, and I knew we weren't leaving anytime soon. Asterisk, if this story mattered to you, subscribe. Out here, survival stories don't get second chances. Asterisk, time lost meaning inside the cave. There was no sunrise, no sunset. Only the dim blue light that filtered in when the storm weakened for a moment, and the deep black when it returned stronger. The sound was constant wind screaming against stone, snow collapsing from the ceiling near the entrance. The cold never left. I built a small fire as far back as possible, using what little fuel I had. Every movement was slow, deliberate. Sweat was dangerous. Stillness was worse. My dogs curled tightly together, pressed against my legs, sharing warmth. Their bodies were the reason I could sleep at all. At night, I listened. Ice cracking somewhere deep in the cave. My dogs breathing. My own heartbeat loud in my ears. I spoke to them quietly, not commands, just words. Hearing a voice helped remind me I was still human. Food was rationed carefully. Water came from melting snow over the fire, a process that took hours for a single cup. My fingers cracked and bled. My lips were split raw. The cold crept into my bones and stayed there. One night, the fire nearly died. I awoke to silence again, the bad kind. My hands moved clumsily, panic sharp and immediate. Without fire, the cave would turn lethal within hours. The dogs lifted their heads, sensing the shift. I fed the flame everything I could spare. That night, I understood something clearly. Survival wasn't about strength or bravery. It was about attention, listening, respecting the limits of your body and the land. The storm continued for days, or maybe longer. I stopped counting. Asterisk, the winds softened gradually, like an animal backing away. I noticed it first in the light. The cave entrance brightened, no longer swallowed by white. Snow still fell, but straight down now, gentle compared to before. The sound changed from violence to wait. I waited. Leaving too early would be a mistake. The land would not forgive. When I finally stepped outside, the world looked new. Buried, smoothed, silent. The sky was pale, endless, indifferent. The cold was still brutal, but stable. Honest, the dogs moved first, cautious but eager, noses low, testing the air. I followed slowly, every muscle stiff, every joint aching. We found our direction by instinct and terrain shapes in the land I recognized. Barely walking felt unreal, like returning from somewhere I wasn't meant to survive. Hours later, I reached a familiar ridge. Signal returned. Weak, but enough. I didn't celebrate. I didn't shout. I just sat down in the snow with my dogs and rested my forehead against theirs, alive. All of us, the storm had not tried to kill us. It had simply reminded us where we stood. Small, temporary, and still breathing.